Good morning. Welcome to CBSN Minnesota Morning Update. It's Tuesday. I'm Jason DeRusha. Glad to have you with us today. Hope you had a nice day yesterday. It was a warm one again, wasn't it? But less humidity. That was nice. Today's going to be, I don't know, I think this is about a perfect mid-July, well, it's June. It's a perfect mid-June day. Yeah, it's going to be about 84 as a high. Still about 5 above average, but you know what? Wonderful. Sunny, low humidity. Kids are out of school, so maybe a good chance to get them out to a neighborhood pool or a lake or a beach or take that bike ride. Today's going to be a perfect day for you. I tried to get today named the top 10 weather day. I asked about this yesterday. And boy, Ron, did you see just the huge results I got?
Riley shunned you.
Riley shunned me. Just crickets, just absolute crickets. But you guys remember who is carrying the water for this top 10 weather day bit. The station thinks it's such a great idea, but we're beating the drum right here on the CBSN Minnesota Morning Update. Let's talk about this. I don't know how you all feel about celebrity news. I'm mixed about it, right? Like, I know that we shouldn't really care, but we sort of do, right? The line between gossip and news on this is thin, but I am interested in the bigger picture behind the Chrissy Teigan story. Chrissy Teigan is a model. She's been an actress. She's a cookbook author. Very popular at one point on social media. Huge following on Twitter and Instagram, but especially Twitter. She sort of rose to fame as a super cool, kind of online savvy celebrity. Well, now she's apologizing again. She's called herself a troll and wrote rather a long apology on Medium, which is one of these websites where you can easily write a blog post. She said she is individually apologizing to people she insulted. She called her old tweets awful, awful tweets. But some of these tweets, I don't know, is it beyond awful? Is it forgivable? Is there a path to redemption? Should celebrities be forgiven for this sort of stuff? Some of these tweets, now do you remember Courtney Stodden? She was like, I don't know, she was very young and married like an older actor. She went after teen mom star Farrah Abraham, went after Lindsay Lohan. Some of these tweets and direct messages, she was like telling these people they should kill themselves. Was she being over dramatic, over the top? Either way, like today you look at that and you're like, are you kidding? Like that really? So Teigan says she's been individually apologizing to people, calling them, reaching out. She said she has been working on herself. And just today, another person came forward from 2014 with direct messages kind of saying that, you know, she was going after them. Now, 2014, some of these tweets are, I mean, that's 7 years old, 10 years old. The question is, do we have a place for forgiveness? We are for sure in a time where it's easy to find how big of a jerk somebody was 10 years ago, 7 years ago. The question is, does that old behavior reveal their true self, or are we capable of growth and capable of realizing that who we were 7, 10 years ago is not who we are today? So kind of wondering, what's your roadmap for forgiveness? I'm a little concerned that as a society, forgiving is harder than banishing, right? It's easy to say, Chrissy Teigan, you're a monster. You're canceled. And maybe she deserves that, right? But what is the path to redemption? Maybe not just for a celebrity, but think about if this is someone in your own life who ends up in something like this. So let us what you think. I know this is kind of a heavy one, maybe, but we'll read your comments on Facebook, the WCCO TV Facebook page, and we'll share your insight in a moment. To Uptown, Minneapolis, where the morning continued last night. Officers still working through what exactly happened, why a man drove into a crowd of protesters. Deanna Kanidak, she has died. Mother of two, devoted peace activist. She was protesting. One of her family members told us that her car was blocking the intersection. 3 others hurt in this. So this is an ongoing protest site where people have been out there protesting, asking for answers, really, in this federal task force that killed Winston Smith. The task force has said he showed a gun. The BCA has said there's evidence he fired the gun from inside his car. But this morning, another tragedy as to what happened here. Did someone purposely drive in the protesters? At this point, police have only said that they believe alcohol or drugs were involved. So whether the person was drunk and crashed into the crowd, or intentionally crashed into the crowd, or both. So all those questions still unanswered. We're waiting for prosecutors to file charges, and then we'll learn more. Southwest Airlines says it has fully resumed flight operations this morning. Another computer issue. We've seen this with the airlines. This time a network issue left passengers stranded across the country. Southwest said it initially grounded flights at some airports last night because the computer issue is preventing the airline from receiving the weather information they need to operate flights. You know, obviously people were venting their frustrations online, some saying they were left stranded on planes during this whole thing, and they were stuck there for hours. Delta and Alaska said the issue affected their booking sites and their apps. There were a couple flights into MSP last night that were delayed, but everything at last check looks like it's running A-OK this morning. Boy, this fire at a chemical plant in Illinois has been burning for nearly 24 hours now. This is at the Chemtool plant just south of the Wisconsin border near Beloit. So this on the western side of Illinois, and look at this fireball, the plant exploding yesterday morning. Flames, smoke just billowing into the sky. Many homes in this area had to be evacuated for obvious reasons. Look at this thing. Some towns hit with falling debris. Nobody hurt. Local fire chief says they're not going to be able to put this thing out. This fire could burn for several more days. This plant produced grease products used for lubrication, so very, very flammable. Wow, something else. Masks are going to be optional at Florida's Walt Disney World for fully vaccinated visitors, and this is how Disney says it, right? You're required, if you're unvaccinated, to wear masks indoors and on rides, but how are they going to know? So really, masks are done at Disney World. They're not asking for proof or anything like that. They are saying, look, children under 12, because they aren't eligible for vaccines yet, they will still be required to wear a mask. Still no hugs of the characters. They're still leaving a little social distancing there. Similar mask policy changes take effect at Disneyland in California, and Disneyland also opening up to the rest of us. For a while, Disneyland was only open to California residents. This is interesting. We've heard this theory before, whether the hot and humid weather would have an impact on an airborne virus like COVID-19. New research seems to indicate that the weather does have an impact. We often wonder this about the flu, right? Do flu rates go down in the summer because of the weather, or is it because we're outside more and we're not in confined spaces? So a new study looked at this and said, nope, the weather does impact COVID. Warmer temperatures, increased humidity, the higher levels of UV radiation from the sun, all of those associated with decreased transmission of COVID. Researchers say it does suggest the virus would be more active, more transmissible in the wintertime. Researchers say humidity was the biggest of the factors they studied. Minnesota Vikings minicamp is underway today. We don't have any drama, which is kind of disappointing, because we love it. A good football contract fight, maybe a star like Aaron Rodgers saying, "You hurt my feelings, I'm not coming." Danielle Hunter kind of worked everything out. This was the only real drama we had here. Danielle Hunter making his first appearance. Just agreed to a new deal. He missed last season with a herniated disc, and that was, that's going to make your contract negotiation a little trickier. Vikes' first preseason game now less than 2 months away. Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Welcome back. A full vaccinated audience last night. First time since March 2020. Colbert said it felt a little like the first day back at school. Nervous but excited. Everybody in the crowd had to show they were vaccinated, had to show some proof. So no mask, no social distancing. But this feels right, doesn't it? I know a lot of people like the late show done remotely. I'm going to be honest, it wasn't really my thing. Like, it's weird hearing jokes and just hearing 4 people laughing. It just didn't have, the energy, and last night, it felt like it was back, so that was cool. Let's get back to our talker. We're talking about Chrissy Teigan. I'm a little afraid to see what everyone's saying. We kind of struggled a little bit with this one. Okay, Tamara, very good. It depends on the apology. and the actions. So Kevin Spacey gave like a typical lame celebrity apology. Not forgiven. We'll have to see what Chrissy Teigan does. Will she work with suicide prevention organizations? What work does she do to redeem herself? Certainly her words, her apology has been unequivocal. Very good. Thanks, Tamara. Here's Pam. They should be more careful what they say being a celebrity. I agree with that, but bear in mind that Twitter 10 years ago, the currency was the snark. And today the currency is the honoring of where people are at. And like being holier than thou. Doesn't it seem that way a little bit? Like when you pronounce someone else awful, you get to feel like you are better than them. Yeah. Twitter has changed a lot. Thanks, Pam. Kevin says celebrities should be forgiven. No one's perfect, and people can and do change. Hopefully, lesson learned. I like that, Kevin. We hope that. It's hard. I feel like some people shouldn't be forgiven. Some people's apology, as Tamara said, is insincere. Like, what's the right way to analyze this? And to a certain degree, it doesn't matter. These aren't our friends. But sometimes someone you know can get caught up in something like this. Kevin, thank you. Annette, I don't know. Yeah. Are they more forgivable than you and I? I would say no, Annette, but I do think we're bad at forgiving regular people. We've ousted people like Johnny Depp and Mel Gibson. Although Mel kind of came back, it's easier to forgive strangers than people we know. Oh, what an interesting observation. Yeah, it's interesting. You would think it'd be easier to forgive the people you know, but somehow the injustice maybe cuts deeper when it affects you. And that, thank you. These are really good comments. I didn't know where it was going to go. Melody, a little too deep before coffee. I get it. But if you aren't a better person than 10 years ago, then yes, you do qualify as a repeat offender for sure. I hope I'm a better person today. And I'll tell you, like, I think back to like jokes that we thought were funny 30 or 40 years ago, like when I was a kid. Whew. Thank goodness there's no Twitter. And for sure, I hope I know I've grown. Much more open-minded, much more forgiving and empathetic today, I think. Melody, thank you. Bradley, long time, age-old rule goes, treat others the way you want to be treated. That's nice. Thanks, Bradley. Good comments, everyone. Thanks for your insights. I appreciate it. Morning update from CBSN. Hopefully, I don't ever say anything that really needs a full-on forgiving. I try not to go that far in this show, but please forgive me if I mess up. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you again tomorrow.